And a special thank you this morning to Susan Baggett, who is substituting last minute for a very ill Jonathan, who So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church. We are a welcoming congregation where we strive to transform ourselves and the world through love, wonder, and connection. My name is Allison Coops. I use she, her pronouns and serve on the Finance Committee. This morning, our guest speaker is Reverend Kimberly Davis. Thank you. I asked, she told me, Reverend Kimberly Davis. She's a minister based in Tacoma Park, Maryland, inspiring an artful and art-filled faith. She consults with congregations and religious professionals throughout the denomination. In addition to her consulting ministry, she also serves the Cedarhurst UUs in the greater Baltimore area. Reverend Kimberly writes about congregational life, worship, and other shenanigans at holdmychalice.substack.com. We begin the new year considering the ongoing journeys of our lives, individually and as communities. How do we handle changing conditions, detours, and rough terrain? One announcement, next Sunday after the service will be our annual information meeting for legacy giving, so please consider staying next week after the service. Whether you are here for the first time or the 1,000th time, welcome. Whatever you are facing in your own life, welcome. This is a place where we try our best to be real with one another, to get through hard things together, and to remind ourselves and one another of the values that ground and center us, that motivate and move us. Whoever you are, whatever your faith journey, whomever you love, you are welcome here. We welcome all who seek to know the sacred and all who seek to make our world more just. Our commitment is to be together in covenant, so please join me in our affirmation of who this community is, beginning with that all-important word, love is the message of this church, and service is our way. This is our great covenant together, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our opening hymn, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door, which is number 1 in our gray hardcover hymnal.
us affirm with a chalice lighting. Sorry, I mixed up my order. Before we light our chalice, I want to acknowledge the disturbing news from yesterday and note that the Unitarian Universalist Association has issued a statement, which you can find online, condemning the Trump administration's military and political strikes early Saturday morning against the country of Venezuela. Our statement notes that as people of faith and conscience, it is essential to speak out now as the situation quickly escalates, creating dangers across the hemisphere. The people of Venezuela have the right, as all people do, to safety and self-determination. The Reverend Micah Busey writes, "May we not meet this news as passively pessimistic observers, but as energized witnesses, assured that every life is sacred and that empire-addled attacks are never pathways to peace, but always failures of imagination. May all who are directly at risk of harm and hate be surrounded by safety. May our leaders either be visited by deep wisdom that edifies them or by deep resistance that replaces them. And may this fear-filled moment activate all of us to keep finding local ways to embody fierce love as we all work to make every small move toward collaboration and reach out that becomes global liberation." So let's take a moment to breathe. As Allison lights our chalice, I offer this blessing by the poet Jan Richardson. Think of the year as a house, doors flung wide and welcome, thresholds swept and waiting, a graced spaciousness opening and offering itself to you. Let it be blessed in every room. Let it be hallowed in every corner. Let every nook be a refuge and every object set to holy use. Let it be here that safety will rest. Let it be here that health will make its home. Let it be here that peace will show its face. Let it be here that love will find its way. Here, let the weary come, let the aching come, let the loss come, let the sorrowing come. Here, let them find their rest, let them find their soothing, and let them find their place, and let them find their delight. And may it be in this house of a year that the seasons will spin in beauty, and may it be in these turning days that time will spiral with joy. And may it be that its rooms will fill with ordinary grace, and light will spill from every window to welcome the stranger home. Please join me now in our time of meditation and prayer. Find a comfortable place for your body, noticing your breathing, finding your center. Take a moment to just be. Allow stillness to settle in. I offer more words from the Reverend Micah Busey, which almost seemed like enough. Grief grinds, grooves, deep and debilitating, and my thoughts and prayers fall in. Hope might be the thing with feathers, but it is keratin drenched with tears, dripping with oil, drowned by my refusal to carry the weight and climb. I feel you across the chasm. Stretching between us is a choice. While the powerful wield the weapons of purposeless poetry, may we be at work, welding our wounds into a web, remolding our rage into a refuge, holding and healing the holes in our holiness. And until our voices and vows out-harmonize the harms, may our thoughts not be avoidance, but space. May our prayers not be ignorance, but wind. And may our hope not be naivety, but the nest that nurtures future flight, even and especially when it feels emptiest. We breathe in love. We breathe out peace. And we hold many who are hurting and celebrating in love and light. We return to our centers of connection every week because we know that rituals bring us closer together and allow us to share the joy and hope and sorrows and fears that shape our lives. In the next few minutes of contemplative time, we will be sharing together the experience of witnessing each other and expressing our inner experience of joy or hope by lighting a candle, and expressing our inner experience of sorrow or fear by placing a stone. In a moment, I'll invite folks to come forward. But first, if you're online, please use the chat to participate in our ritual. Write your name and stone or candle, and we'll add your stone or candle to the altar. If you're in the room and would like someone to light a candle for your joy, raise your hand. If you would like someone to place a stone for your sorrow, raise your hand. We light one final candle for, oh, sorry. Oh, now you may come forward. Sorry. Anyone who would like to come forward may do so now. There it is, right in the script. Drop stones for Michelle Matthews, Maria Linville, Cindy Kane, Donna Blankenship, Gail, Linda Wolitz, and Elizabeth and Kurt. We light one final candle for all the joys that remain in our hearts and place one final stone for the remaining sorrows of this morning. And now join me in singing our sung prayer, There is a Love.
Amen. And hi there, my name is Adina Danuf. I use she or they pronouns, and I am your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. And today we are looking a bit at our journeys. And they all look different and go in different directions, but sometimes it works out that we journey side by side, right? Yeah? Okay, you're awake. Okay. Sometimes we face the same obstacles and challenges, and sometimes we come to the same bridges. Yeah? So today, thanks to Kimberly, Reverend Kimberly, I'm going to share a story called Crossing the New Bridge by Emily Arnold McCulley. It begins, long ago in a town by the river, the old bridge suddenly creaked and cracked and fell into the water. Thank you for the gasp. And the mayor was among the first on the scene. "This is a calamity," exclaimed the mayor. "The town must have a new bridge. We will run out of food. Someone will have to build a new one." Someone in the crowd shouted, "Ask the Jubilates." In the midst of the commotion, the Jubilates arrived. The mayor asked them if they could build the new bridge, and the Jubilates laughed, saying, "Of course we can. We can build anything." The mayor sighed in relief and began to plan his triumphal procession across the completed bridge. But then the old woman, it says the old woman as if there was only one old woman in the town, but anyway, the old woman tugged at his sleeve. "What about our tradition? The first person across the new bridge must be the happiest in town." "The happiest in town?" exclaimed the mayor. "And furthermore," the old woman continued, "if anyone else crosses first, a curse will fall upon all of us." "A curse?" gasped the mayor. "We can't have a curse while I'm in office." Oh my God. Woo! How do we find the happiest person? And bang, bang, bang came the sounds of the Jubilates already hard at work across the river. It's already happening. So the mayor decided to try the banker. He decided he was the richest person in town and thus must be the happiest as well. So the banker was in his vault counting his money. "Sir," said the mayor, I'm forgetting which voice is which at this point, "we've chosen you to be the first." "Not now," the banker interrupted. 1,026, 1,027. "Oh no, a sovereign is missing. Call the sheriff." So maybe the richest in town is not the happiest. The mayor realized that the banker was really not happy at all. He decided to try the grocer next. After all, he thought, the grocer is more beautiful than anyone else in town, so she must be the happiest. The grocer hummed as they arranged melons in a shop window. "Excuse me," he asked, "are you happy?" And the grocer glanced at the mayor. "What a question! If you look at me, of course you'd be happy." Just then they smiled in the mirror and suddenly shrieked, "Oh, the horror, the horror! Is that a wrinkle on my forehead? And another, don't look at me." The mayor wiped his forehead and pressed on. Obviously that wasn't it. And over the rooftop, the bridge marched steadily across the river. The Jubilates never slowed their work, and down the street he saw the home of a woman with 12 healthy children. He knocked, and then knocked louder over top of all of the noise that 12 children might make. And finally, a tired, rattled woman, I only have 2, and I resonate deeply with this. She opened the door. "Madam, are you happy?" asked the mayor. "What's that?" the woman shouted. "Speak up." "I said, are you happy? We are looking for the happiest person in town." The woman sighed. "Well, any other day that would be me, but today one of my boys chased another one up the tree and he fell down the chimney. And while I was borrowing the ladder so I could go after him, the soup boiled over and then their baby ran out and opened the gate and the cow ran away and then one couldn't run after it because the sister threw the shoes down the well and broke the bed while jumping on it." And the mayor just slowly backed away. Sorry for having interrupted her. And as he walked up the street, he could hear the Jubilates cheering as they reached the halfway point of the river. The mayor paused to watch and then interrupted himself. "I can't waste time admiring the bridge. I need a good night's sleep if I'm going to find the happiest person in town." In the days that followed, the bridge came nearer and nearer to the shore. And the mayor continued to search high and low, but no one seemed happier than anyone else. The pie seller had blisters on his feet. The apothecary had mixed up hiccup potion with drowsy potion. The barber had nicked the miller's chin. The rag picker missed their mother who lived across the river, and so on. The mayor was frustrated. Oh dear, and I used to be happy myself." But then a great cheer rose from the riverbank. "We did it, cried the Jubilates. "It was hard work, but it was well worth it. I think it's our best bridge yet. It is an excellent bridge." The mayor waited. He wailed, "But we can't use it! Tradition says the happiest person in town must cross first, but we couldn't find the happiest person." "A moment ago, we were the happiest in town," Mother Jubilate exclaimed. "We built the best bridge of our lives, and we just crossed it." Everyone looked at everyone else. As they realized what Mother Jubilate said, a cheer rose from the crowd. And then everyone in town scampered onto the bridge where they danced back and forth from shore to shore. The mayor even danced with the old woman, and he was so happy that he forgave her for bringing up the tradition in the first place. The Jubilates, of course, had been happy all along. I hope that you all find a time to be the happiest in town sometime this year. And for now, let's have some of us cross the bridge together to class. Thank you.
Please join me in our offering and acknowledging all of the ways We give to this church and this world. We give because this is our church and we value what it does for us, to us, and through us to our community and our world. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this church inside and outside our walls. May we give in love and in hope. Thank you for your offering and for all of the ways that you give to our life and ministry with your time, talent, treasure, and trust. Together, our gifts allow us to expand and strengthen the tapestry of love, wonder, and connection that blesses this church and transforms us and our world. Our reading this morning is Nothing is Static by Manish Mishra Marzetti. The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake, reminding us that the solidity we often love and seek is an illusion. The crumbling dust of the desert plains, the moist fertility of farmlands, the eroding coastline of tidal shores, all are changing. Committees dissolve or are created, leaders retire or step away. Ministers come and go. Bylaws are amended, new experiences lead to new truths, which foster evolution, the natural course of life, always pushing us toward greater understandings of what it means to be human. Everything about our existence points toward change, flexibility, and dynamic recreation. And it's hard because change involves loss. Can we hold the losses well, while not holding ourselves back? The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake. Nothing is static.
Here we are. Whew, 2026. seems almost unbelievable that we're living, that we've already a quarter century down. Here we are together on a cold winter morning at the start of a new year that we hope beyond hope will be better than the last. Our struggles have been real, right? If you're anything like me, you've sometimes wondered what the heck it is we're even doing. How do we handle this? No less, how do we change our trajectory? How do we hold firm to our values and work for justice when things are so hard? And how do we both revere the past and trust the dawning future more? I want to tell you a story about roads. University Boulevard is a major road roughly paralleling the Capitol Beltway in Maryland, going from more or less Bethesda through College Park. As a major thoroughfare, it is chock full of businesses and churches and occasionally housing. So you can imagine how annoying it is that since long before I moved there in 2021, and with no clear end date until recently, a huge chunk of that road is torn up and in various stages of construction. It's a bumpy, sometimes vehicle-damaging route, which is hard to avoid because it's the only way to get from homes to many of the businesses that we live near it and require access to. I've tried to avoid it, but I find that even Google Maps gets lost in the meandering subdivisions and cul-de-sacs and near complete lack of actually square intersections. I lived in New York City. This is so annoying. And I grimace about that a lot. One day I asked my landlord about the construction, wondering why the most torn up section was also in an area full of Central and South American immigrants. They told me, much to my relief, that it is actually the result of a new commuter line that's going in, the Purple Line, which will more or less mimic the route of University Boulevard, becoming a cheaper, easier, and faster way to get from Bethesda in the west to the train station in New Carrollton, just west of the University of Maryland. Meaning not just easier travel, but also meaning that more people can get to the jobs that will pay them well. Of course, they noted that construction was paused a couple of years, about the time I moved there, because of a funding dispute. But that's now been resolved, and now you can run into actual construction and laid track in just about any part of the line's path. It has areas that are completed already, and the trains have been acquired. They're gorgeous. They're purple and white and very cool, but it's still going to be early 2027 before the Purple Line is operational. Because sometimes good change takes time. And honestly, sometimes good change means there's a mess in the meantime. It's like when you decide to clean out a closet, right? And there are stacks of things and piles of things, and at some point you remember your mom telling you about the old radio show Fibber McGee and Molly and his closet that was sadly for him not bigger on the inside, even though he could have used a TARDIS. And yes, it was a radio show, but there was a visual gag as things fell out of his closet. Yeah. But there's sometimes a mess on the way to something better. The road, as we sing, will be muddy and rough. And that's a good thing, by the way, because it means something is happening. Anyone who's ever gotten stuck in a snowbank knows that as long as there's just snow or ice underneath, your car ain't going nowhere. But once you get some dirt and sand kicking up and it gets a little muddy, then you get some traction. And your car has a fighting chance of getting out. When things are muddy and rough, we know we're working. We're getting out of the rut. We're building something new. We're in process. Another road story. I moved to the DC metro area from upstate New York in Saratoga County, which is just north of Albany, and just south of the famous thoroughbred racetrack. The two main routes up from Albany are Route 9, which runs along the Hudson and the Adirondack and into the Adirondacks, and I-87, known as the Adirondack Northway, which runs all the way to Montreal. In Malta, where I lived, exits 11 and 12, for those who know, Route 9 and the Northway are about a half mile away from each other, connected by Route 67. The intersections are full of businesses that support the town. Also, State Farm's headquarters are there. And travelers needing food and gas find it off of exits 11 and 12, which means there's a lot of traffic and more than a few accidents at these various intersections. About a decade ago, maybe a little bit more, some smart folks at the New York State Department of Transportation determined that the way of the future is roundabouts. Now, these traffic circles are proven to mean maybe some more fender benders, but significantly less fatal or near fatal accidents. So this section of 67 became a testing ground for the DOT for sequential roundabouts, which of course meant construction and traffic pattern shifts, which eventually became circles, circles upon circles. Circles not just on 67, but down Route 9 too, and some of the other side roads. In the most dense section of roundabouts in Malta, there are 7 circles in less than a mile. From above, it looks like an alien landing strip. Now, some of these roundabouts might seem superfluous. Maybe someone got circle happy. I know many people complain because the regular old intersections were just fine for so long, and why do they want to change it? Who do they think they are? Well, they're the New York State DOT. But the town of Malta is growing. New major businesses, State Farm moved in there. There's a computer chip factory, and other big businesses are moving into this area, and more traffic than ever. I still wonder sometimes if there are just maybe a couple too many roundabouts. The people who know more than I do brought newer ideas to answer newer problems, and honestly, if they think the cornucopia of traffic circles means I'm safer and have less congestion, then hot diggity. I know you all have construction nearby, or your own circle for a roundabout, absolutely. So sometimes we get new ideas from new generations of civil engineers or managers or ministers or volunteers who might not do things the way we would do it or we've always done it, but who are bringing new ideas that will meet the moment we're facing, not the moment that has passed. So I write a lot about congregations and work with a lot of congregations, and I think about how so many congregations have gone through or are going through change processes, looking at bylaws, committee structures, lines of communication, new technology, new needs. And maybe you get done with some policy work and mission and vision work, and then a new generation of leaders comes in and wants to do it all again and differently. Didn't we just do this? Why do they want to change it? Who do they think they are? And those questions get harder when you're a founder, which I suspect some of you are. You worked very, very hard 33 years ago. I know your history. To create this congregation, to develop its systems, figure out its bylaws, committee structures, lines of communication, policies, mission, vision. You've held positions of leadership throughout this time, holding the vision and doing the work. Yes. And like many congregations right now, you're seeing some moderate growth. And I expect you'll continue to see growth with wonderful people who don't know what those early days were like, but love what they see or love what's been built and know they want there to be another 33 years and another 33 years after that. And here's where it gets hard, because every time new people come into our congregations, especially when they're of a different generation, there's a little, not mistrust exactly, but hesitation. Do they really get the vision? Will they do it the way we figured out how? Will this continue to be the congregation I love? After all, our systems are working pretty well, and if I didn't do this, I don't know what I'd do. Does that sound familiar? For some of you, I'm sure it does, and it's reasonable. This is what generational shifts look like. Now, a few of you might remember that I led a workshop here in 2015, exploring generational dynamics through a faith and leadership lens. I'm going to go there again just a little bit. So I suspect many of the founders in the room are boomers. And you not only had a vision, but you built something with that vision. And look at what is here. A beautiful congregation with an amazing called minister that I have been calling a friend for, almost 15 years. An incredible staff, a terrific building, and a vibrant mission. And that's what boomers do. They name vision and work toward a vision. But then my generation, the Gen Xers, come along. Woohoo! And they look at the systems and they say, there are easier ways to do this. And they begin tinkering and figuring out what might be done differently and more efficiently. And because of their agility, they have a certain kind of strength of leadership in times of crisis, which we are most certainly in. And as we emerge from the crisis and have made the road rough and changed the traffic patterns, the millennials in the room? Yes, come in and rebuild our institutions in new ways. And the Zoomers, who are already adults, when I first talked about them a decade ago, we didn't call them Zoomers because we weren't using Zoom, and they were all little ones. And now a bunch of you are adults already. Anyway, the Zoomers are proving to be people who implement change, are ready to just do it and amplify the vision for the next generation. And the cycle continues. You might hear in these descriptions your parents or grandparents or other relatives who were from the silent generation or the GI generation or the lost generation long before that. But it's hard in the meantime, right? Because no generation will do things the way the previous ones did. And that makes the road bumpy and torn up, and damn it, those orange barrels are everywhere. I used to joke that orange barrels were the state flower of Pennsylvania. Yeah, I think it's true. Also, I know a woman whose husband was the richest man in the state of, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because he sold asphalt. Anyway, side note. So it's easy to want to keep the system the way it is. And the truth is, when a system appears to be working well, and the people who are doing the jobs and doing them well, it's hard for others to say yes to even taking on those roles, despite the pleas of the exhausted leaders. There's a worry about stepping on someone else's toes or not being as good at it or being thought as usurping. And it's especially hard when that leader has been doing the task for a really long time. In my home congregation in Saratoga Springs, we had a social justice committee chair who stayed in that position for over 15 years because he was good at it and he came to believe he was the only one who could manage it all. And thus everyone else believed it too. And then his husband got a job in Florida and he had to let go. And voila, folks discovered that they could do it. And now there's a regular rotation again where there always should have been. It's so easy to let systems just run the way they always have, but that way leads to burnout for leaders and stagnation for the congregation. I mean, New York State could have left the intersections on 67 just the way they were, but it would have meant more accidents as traffic got heavier, and maybe some deaths, and possibly stagnation for the town as businesses found more accessible places to build. The DC metro system could have ignored the needs of growing populations in the Maryland suburbs, but it would have meant more road congestion and more poverty. It would be so easy to ignore the changes in front of us and just focus on what we know, but dang it all, the world keeps changing. How dare it? We keep growing older, and we keep learning more about injustice, inequity, inequality, bigotry, greed, hatred, violence, but also more about our understanding of inclusive ways of being with one another. We are learning that some of the structures that served us may not serve everyone. And so we're working to dismantle racism, misogyny, ableism, homophobia, transphobia, and other oppressions. And that means changing our internal systems too, to rid them of the structures that keep the circle of love small. Which may mean the traffic patterns have to change to keep people safe, and new routes need to be built to help people access what they need. And sometimes that means the people who built the original things must accept that change is going to happen whether we want it to or not. And maybe it's good for everyone if we find ways to support that change, even if it feels scary, which it kind of is. Especially when the larger systems that we have trusted for so long, like, our federal government, are unstable and changing for no good reason because dismantling it all is their point and the hate and violence is the only fuel. It can be so hard and scary to see changes that are so out of control outside our walls and then wonder what we can do inside our walls, and can we just hold on to something, anything that we know? And then it is scary to see change happening inside our walls too. I get it. And while we're in here worrying, the Jubilatis are out there already building the new bridge to meet the moment. So what if, instead of being scared or anxious or a little uneasy, we make change, or we make space for good, forward-looking change that is both agile and grounded, that looks forward and is occasionally messy? We might find that we can hold each other through the discomfort and grow in ways that let our love be the balm of empathy and the fuel of resistance and the fire of liberation. And it can be hard because you aren't just changing what seemed to be working, you're having to put faith in others that the change will be good. You have to trust that those changes will mean a smoother road and more access and more safety and more opportunity. Choosing to make changes means letting those with more energy take the lead and trusting that that is the right choice, which I think it is. And that's hard. Hard to have trust in the unknown, hard to have faith. But it isn't all bad. It means that if some of you decide it's time to move out of active leadership, you get to move into a crucially important role in any congregation. The role of history holder, mentor, legacy maker. I noted with a little smile that next week you'll be talking about legacy giving after the service, and that's part of it, but also legacy of what you have done, what you have created. New leaders always benefit from learning what happened before so they can make more informed choices. And sometimes the old ways are the best ways, or at least show us that we can make changes that maybe are less drastic, like a whole new metro line, and a little more subtle, like replacing a stoplight with a roundabout. Okay, Malta's roundabouts are not subtle, but you know what I mean, right? Becoming comfortable with changes in systems and leadership does not mean we don't revere the past, because we do. Our history matters. Your congregational history matters. But it also means we trust the dawning future more. And don't forget that our Unitarian Universalist faith tells us that nothing is static. Revelation is continuous. We as a faith are always open to new ideas, new ways of doing things, being ready to meet the moment again and again and again. And if you want a tangible example, look at the gray hymnal. Look at some of the words that we have sung that are no longer comfortable or appropriate. Look at the ways we have grown just in the 33 years since that hymnal was produced. We are changing. The moral arc is bending, and that requires us to let go of those things that no longer serve us and entrust that dawning future more. We may not always know exactly where we are going, but we are going together. Let us go together, grounded in love. Let us sing. Our closing hymn is Will Ya Ya, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit. The punctuation of this sermon is a piece from John O'Donohue. May we have the courage to take the step into the unknown that beckons us. Trust that a richer life awaits us there, that we will lose nothing but what has already died. Feel the deeper knowing in us, sure of all that is about to be born beyond the pale frames where we stayed confined, not realizing how such vacant endurance was bleaching our soul's desire. So in preparation for our closing, let us reach out to each other in whatever way feels comfortable. When you go, go in love. When you go, go in peace.
Salam and shalom.
Leave this place knowing that you are good and knowing that you are loved.
Blessed be.
Take your dark and your light and your love from this place. Share them with the world. And stay safe until we meet again. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy coffee hour and conversation, and I hope you have a great week and a great year ahead.